What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Talking Halos. I'm your host today, Jared Timms, and I'm joined alongside my co-host, my partner in crime, Nate Green. Nate, welcome to the winter meetings. I know we're not there, but it feels like it's definitely wintertime here. I don't know about for you.
For you, I know that.
It's freezing up here. So, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Warmer than you, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's how it works. That's what happens. Snowed yesterday. Rained all day today.
Yeah,
So,
definitely warmer than you.
lucky you. Winter meetings, day one. As always, Nate, I told you this. Like, we need to report on everything day one of winter meetings. I was like, nothing's going to happen day one of the winter meetings. Anybody signed today? I don't think so, huh?
Nothing.
Nothing. Just all the fun rumor stuff that's going
Yeah.
on. Monday, it'll get hot. Actually, the way it seems, it'll, rumor. So Sunday, Monday is like the rumor mill. Then Tuesday, it'll start picking up. Wednesday, it picks up. Last day, Thursday, it's kind of a little bit dead because everybody starts bouncing out of there. So, but you never know about Mondays. We will probably start seeing some guys sign here or there. It just seems like the big guys are keeping that market stalled out for at least the teams that should be making some moves. Those big name teams, the Angels, obviously are on Shohei Ohtani. It feels like a lot of teams have shifted away from Shohei Ohtani because of the fact that it sounds like he's going to get over 50 million a year. Some are speculating 60 million a year, which is you can hear it in my voice. It's unbelievable.
That's way too much money.
You can say it's way too much money, and I'm fine with that. We've remember for the longest time, everybody was like flirting with the whole factor of, man, 30 million, that's a lot. 40 million, that's a lot. Like no one's ever getting 40 mil. Now we're talking about like $60 million a year for a player is absolutely insane. I know it's not just the player. You get an entire nation that comes with him. You get probably a whole new TV deal from that nation as well. We'll get to Shohei Ohtani here in a
It could still be 50 million. It could be 12 for 600. So
yeah, that's true.
it could still be 50.
That's a lot of money though, man. That's a lot of money.
It's a long time too. It's a long time
with a lot of money. I agree with that. We'll get Shohei Ohtani here in a bit because we do want to talk a little Shohei Ohtani action because of course we can't not. It feels like it's the only thing that's in the news right now for the Angels. There are a couple big things with the Angels that happened. They got under the Lux tax by 30.
Yeah, that's huge.
Huge.
That is huge.
Very huge. They get the second round pick instead of the fourth round pick. Don't think about it as a pick scenario. Think about it as they get $500,000 in draft money. I know Taylor Blake Ward reported that, but they get that amount of money back in the draft, which is huge. They haven't had that second round pick for a while. They still might not, depending on if they go and sign one of those big names. They might have to give up this second rounder.
There's not too many guys this year.
No, but I mean, you never know with the Cody Bellinger type of guy. If the Angels miss out on Shohei Ohtani, already likes the big bat. People keep telling me that on Twitter, and I'm like, I don't doubt it. I really don't doubt that. So
yeah.
I'd be intrigued, and I'm sure we'll talk about Bellinger at some point, unless he signs. But today's not the day. The Angels get under the luxury tax, which is humongous. They also don't have to give up international money, which I think was $500,000 international money as well, which is another big thing for those of you who keep track of it, like myself. So draft, they get second rounder instead of the fourth rounder if Ohtani leaves. If not, they don't get any of that. And then they again, international money wise, they don't lose $500,000 on that side of stuff. So exciting news on that front. You got anything you want to talk about when it comes to Lux tax or anything like that?
Yeah, no, that's really, really important. I actually have been wondering when was this number going to come out because, you and I have talked about this, how different it is. Like there's so many things that go into this, and finally it comes out today, which is, it's huge because it really sets the tone for the rest of the off season.
Yep.
It helps them know, like, hey, can we go get a guy who's a free agent that we have to give up a pick for? Hey, what happens if we lose Ohtani? Do we get a fourth or do we get a second? They would look like the biggest idiots in the history of baseball if they went over the luxury tax when they had no business of making the playoffs. You missed the playoffs, and now you are still over the luxury tax, and you lose a and you lose Shohei Ohtani, and you get a 4th-round pick for him instead of getting the King's ransom they could have gotten at the deadline. So that at least makes them look a little bit better. Still not a great look, but what are you gonna do?
Shoulda, coulda, woulda. And I'm gonna say this when the draft happens too, because there's gonna be a lot of emphasis put on the name that they draft there. And it's gonna, it's gonna suck for that guy. It will be. All eyes are gonna be on that because it happened forever, right? Like when you think of Mike Trout in the draft, what do you think of?
Mark Teixeira.
Mark Teixeira, right? Like, oh, the Angels got the pick from the Yankees because of Mark Teixeira. Like, so anytime, that kid that gets picked in the second round gets mentioned, and if he, makes it to the show, makes it, becomes an all-star or anything like that, or if he doesn't, it might suck for that kid, so who knows? We got a long way to go till the draft in July, but yeah, good thing that the Angels got under the Lux tax because man, if they would not have signed Shohei Ohtani, and they got a 4th-round pick just for Shohei Ohtani, we can play the shoulda, coulda, woulda game all day. That
would have been really bad.
It'll always piss me off. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I mean, we talked about it for 2 years coming out.
But a second rounder is way better than a 4th rounder. That's so much. That money is way different.
Yeah, but what the Washington Nationals got for Juan Soto is better than a 2nd rounder. So I don't want to talk about it anymore because it pisses me off, right? Like, I don't want to talk about it anymore. All right, we've talked about it enough. It'll be the move that should have happened that never did. Like, you break the number 1 rule when it comes to like free agency and big names like that. You don't let a guy like this walk without getting something. So, coaching news. Angels have a bench coach. Nate, your favorite bench coach, Andrew Velasquez, is back. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, basically.
Ray Montgomery. For me.
Yeah, Nate, of course, you always will find a way to make this sound good. Go ahead, try and make it sound good. I'm excited.
When I started hearing he was getting managerial interviews, he got a managerial interview for the Astros, right? I know you're going to tell me, oh, he knows somebody.
Because he knows Jeff Bagwell, who has more input than anyone in that organization outside the org. That's great. Your childhood best friend is Jeff Bagwell, so now you get an interview for the job. Like, Brad Ausmus got an interview for the job. Does that mean we should hire Brad Ausmus because he's the greatest manager in the history of the world? We already know that. Oh, wait, no. Brad Ausmus sucks. Okay. Keep going, though. Keep going.
I don't care what you say. Like, I just, it became intriguing. It became intriguing once you start getting interviews for the same thing goes with Phil Nevin, right? Like, Phil's getting interviews, right? Benji Gill's getting interviews. Like,
did any of them get hired?
No,
okay.
Do that.
Okay. So if none of them got hired, they're obviously not good enough to get another job.
All right, that's fine. Like I said, would I have rather have seen Clint Hurdle? Absolutely would rather have seen Clint Hurdle over Ray Montgomery. However,
I would have rather seen Torrey Hunter over Ray Montgomery.
I would also agree with that. We can play the shoulda, coulda, woulda game again all day. Like, I'd rather see Torrey. I'd rather see
Put him back in the front office where he belongs.
Well,
that's where he belongs. Put him back in the freaking front office.
He's not he's not a front office guy. He was a scout. He's a scout.
Put him back in the front office. That's where he should be. He has no business being in the dugout.
Let's see.
Let Ron do what he needs to do. Stop trying to take the freaking lineup card away from Ron Washington.
I'll say that if we start seeing if we not start seeing new things, because if we see new things, I feel like that's Ron Washington. If we continue to see the same thing over and over again in this next season, then it's like, well, the lineup card's not really washes, or something like that. And so there will be trends. It'll be something that you obviously got to keep an eye on. But yes, I would have rather have seen Clint Hurdle for sure. Torrey Hunter, I would rather have seen a baseball guy rather than somebody.
I'd rather seen Tim Salmon.
Yeah. There's a list.
And he wasn't even high up on our list.
I want a baseball guy. Like Benji Gill was fine. Like, I would rather seen Benji Gill come back as a bench coach. Regardless, Ray Montgomery returns. We'll see. Like, I'd rather see a baseball guy, but that's just me. It's a communicator to the front office. That's how that is. He has now a year of experience. 2 years of experience as a bench coach. As a bench coach, Let's see what Wash can do to Ray Montgomery. He's a fantastic baseball mind. He's there for a reason. I get that it's the communication thing.
Yeah,
Probably got to pull
that's
that.
what he's there for. He's
But
literally there to make sure that Wash puts in Aaron Loop in the ninth inning of a 1-run game, facing right. That's what he's there for.
I think that was Alex Tammon. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
Hey, you could tell me, but who was Alex communicating with to tell Phil to do that?
there was a game plan. You would have to
There
assume
you
there
go.
was a game plan. You
There you
have
go.
to assume the game was written out before the game
There you go.
happened. So,
So I just want somebody who has a mind for themselves down there. I don't want somebody who's listening to someone and going, "Hey, this is a great idea because so and so said it, so we're gonna do it." It's like
I'd say Ron. I'd say Ron's. This is Ron's team. This is Wash's team, right?
we'll see.
Like,
You thought it was Joe's team.
well,
We'll see.
we'll see. Let's wait for the season. I know that this one move kind of rubs us in the wrong direction, but we shall see when it comes to the season and see if the same moves that happened in the past that continue to happen, or if this is Wash's lineup card or not. So the rumor mill time, because it's always fun here at the winter meetings. Angels are linked to former Angels catcher. Angels are linked to former Angels catcher Martin Maldonado. Nate, you happy about that?
Just throw the Angels in every rumor you possibly can. The more Angels there in the rumor, the better for other teams.
It gives us something to talk about. Okay, gives us something to talk about. The
Yeah,
Angels are in. So I mean, it brings up an interesting conversation to have.
We
Angels
have
are in a weird
3
spot.
catchers.
They're in a weird spot. Hoppy's probably gonna play.
Hoppy's playing.
You would assume and you hope that he's playing 120 to 130 games next year. Who's going to fill in those other 30 to 40 games, right? Is the question to me. And is that Matt Thaiss a left-handed bat? Maybe. Is it Max Stassi? Like, you don't know where he's at baseball-wise. He hasn't played baseball in a whole year.
I know, but he's coming back. You have him under contract. Like,
you do.
For a substantial amount of money. We've seen the Angels don't really care about that because of what they did with David Fletcher. But, I mean, you're going to give him every opportunity to play. Or you're going to just say Thaiss is the guy. But I don't see a way where the Angels say, we're getting rid of Thaiss, we're getting rid of Stassi to bring in Martin Maldonado. I just don't.
I don't either. But in a minor league deal, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, if it's on a minor league deal, but you're not getting him on a minor league deal, right? Like, he's a guy that is going to be like Brett Phillips was last year that's going to say, I will sign with anyone that's willing to give me a 1-year, $1 million deal. And there's going to be someone who's going to connect the dots and say, well, the Astros liked him enough to start him 140 times last year. The Astros liked him enough to start him in the postseason last year, right? Like, I don't know what the exact number was. It was high.
I'll go get you the numbers here before.
It was high. Way higher than it should have been for Martin Maldonado. But you're going to have a team that's going to say, arguably, he's one of the best defensive catchers you can find in free agency. $1 million.
He's not a good defensive catcher. He's not a good defensive catcher anymore.
But that's what teams are going to say. And then the other thing they're going to say is he's one of the best communicators with young pitching. That's where
you'll get it. And it's the same thing that happened with Kurt Suzuki too. Like, why did Kurt Suzuki continue to get jobs? This is why. Like,
because everyone thought he was an offensive catcher and he wasn't.
Let's see. Maldonado played in 117 games last year as a 36-year-old. Put up a negative 1.2 Fangraphs WAR. If I remember correctly, and I think I do remember correctly, he was not a very good defensive catcher. He was actually one of the worst defensive catchers when it comes to a framing standpoint, because that's kind of the name of the game.
Who do people want to throw to, though?
You know, exactly that. And
everyone wants to throw to him. Like, that's what he's there for. So there's going to be some team that's going to say, you know what, we've got a young pitching staff. We need a backup catcher. We'll give him $1 million. You're not getting him on a minor league deal. So I feel like to be in this is kind of a waste of time, because there's going to be someone else who's going to give him $1 million. And if you're giving him $1 million, then, like, are we carrying 3 catchers? Like, are you getting rid of Max Stassi, who basically has been said that
you have to carry 4 catchers at that point.
well, unless you're getting rid of one of them. But
Yeah.
but you know what I'm saying? Like Max Stassi is said to be the same guy as Martin Maldonado. You know, like he's said to be a good defensive catcher, not an elite hitter, and you know, pitchers like throwing to him. That's why he's had a job.
Negative 10 defensive run save last year and negative 15 Fangraphs framing, which I think Fangraphs framing technically is Baseball Savant. So I mean, if you were to tell me he gets a minor league deal, I would not be surprised. If you would tell me he gets 1-for-1, that wouldn't surprise me either. He did not have a good defensive year. He did not have a good defensive year. I don't do it any more than a minor league deal there for him. But the Angels have signed weirder guys. I mean, Adam Kolarek, and then Brett Phillips. You mentioned it last year too. So. Yeah. I don't know. The Angels are in a weird spot with catching. I'll say that. We'll talk about it at some point down the road here too. I'm surprised the Angels are linked to a catcher, but also not, because they need a better catcher. You don't have a backup catcher right now.
They need depth. They need catching depth, because if Ohtani goes down, there's nobody in the minor leagues to take the job. And I know you'll say, well, there's this guy down in the minor leagues who looks like he could be a good defensive catcher, but I don't care. We watched Matt Thaiss go ice cold for a month and a half. We watched Chad Wallach.
Matt Thaiss isn't a catcher, man. Matt Thaiss is not a catcher.
He's not.
And
we also watched Chad Wallach go a month and a half without getting a hit. So like,
I'm fine with catchers not getting hits as long as they're playing good defense. And Chad Wallach, I think, had the best catcher's ERA on the team last year. So I would have taken Chad Wallach catching every day over Matt Thaiss and whoever else it was when Ohtani was hurt. I can't even remember right now because I've completely blacked it out because last season was just brutal. But yeah, I'll take Chad.
Chris O'Kee.
Chris O'Kee? Yeah, that's right. They brought up Chris O'Kee for a little while there. They brought up a bunch of guys, man. I mean, it was tough season. I'll say that. I'll take Chad Wallach catching every day though. And Logan Ohtani, which I think Chad Wallach is very similar to Martin Maldonado. So I'll take Martin Maldonado. Unless you get Stassi and you know he's going to be a dude. This is very similar to the Jared Walsh thing, right? Like the mentality with Max Stassi has to be how we felt about Jared Walsh last year, because you don't know what Stassi's doing. Stassi's been hurt. He's had hip surgeries. We've talked about this 1,000 times in the past. Like, yes, you give him every opportunity, but like
Stassi's completely different than Jared Walsh. Completely different.
He took a year off.
Completely different. Surgeries.
When was the last time
he had hip surgeries 3 years ago when you were talking him up as being a good catcher?
Yeah,
he's completely different. Max Stassi is not coming back from an injury that we have never seen before from a position player.
When was the last time
he's not
took a full year off?
We've seen guys take a full year off and come back.
You've seen a catcher take a full year off.
We have.
Max Stassi.
Is it ideal?
Max Stassi has played over 100 games once in his career. He's played over 80 games 3 times.
You just said Logan Ohtani is playing 130 games.
And you said the Angels need depth.
They do need depth.
Okay.
They need a third catcher. Max Stassi should be on the roster as the second catcher. And then they need a minor league catcher.
You need to treat Max Stassi how you treated Jared Walsh coming in next year. Max Stassi took a year off, man. He hasn't played baseball in a year. Just saying, like, that's not. It's not.
I'm just saying, Jared Walsh is completely different. I'm not asking Max Stassi to figure out how to breathe again. Like, this is completely different.
You're asking him how to hit a 100-mile-an-hour fastball again.
I'm not asking him to hit. You just said you don't care if the guy gets a hit as long as he's good behind the dish.
Yeah, okay, then you're asking him to catch a 100-mile-an-hour fastball again. Like, it's not easy. Which
is like riding a bike. Yeah, get him a machine. He's fine.
You have to treat Stassi how you treated Walsh last year. He took a year off. Like, you got to go into it like, who's your backup after that? Like, Thaiss is going to get every opportunity. It's going to be a battle for that number 2 spot. I think it's even a battle for the number 1 spot. Like, you hope that Logan Ohtani. You hope it's
not. It's not a battle. It's Logan Ohtani's job.
You hope it's
healthy,
Logan
Ohtani's job.
You hope it's Logan Ohtani. But what happened? I mean, what if he just got, like, we've seen it before. The Angels haven't been able to produce from the minors to the major leagues. Like, what if all of a sudden Logan Ohtani just isn't it? Like, we've seen it before.
Then you're in trouble, because that means we can play that. But then you got to play that game with Zach Neto.
Exactly. I'll play the same game at shortstop.
You're not treating everyone the same way, though. You're treating Zach. You are. You're saying
Taylor
Zach
Ward, I'm
Neto's
going to
going to
treat
come
Taylor
in and be
Ward the same
fine.
thing.
You're
No,
saying, oh,
you need to go get somebody that can play
this team
shortstop. You need to
this
go get
team's
some
not good
outfield.
enough.
You-
This
I
team's not good enough. It
I'm
doesn't
just let
matter.
I'm just saying
This team won
you
74 games last year.
you
It
need
doesn't
somebody that
matter. This team's not
can
good.
play behind Rendon because you don't know about Rendon. You need somebody that can play behind Neto because you don't know if Neto is going to be healthy. Second base, is it Drury? Like Drury's not a good defensive second baseman. Look at first base. First base is Nolan Shanwell. Sure, like Nate, you're the most skeptical person about Nolan Shanwell.
All I'm saying
What happens
is
if Shanwell opens up the season batting like 190 all of a
all
sudden?
I'm saying is
20 games.
all I heard from you in August and September is there's a skeleton around this team. This
There
team is close to
I'm
being
just
good.
saying.
And now you're saying that the skeleton is broken. You're saying that everyone is broken and the skeleton is a waste, which it's a nightmare. This team sucks right now. They need a lot of help. It's true.
It is. I'm just pointing out the facts that like
but why are we wasting money on a position that isn't necessary? Right? Like you have 3 catchers that have caught major league games in the past 2 years. You have 3 catchers. Let's worry about another position. How about starting pitching? We're going to run Tyler Anderson, Griffin Canning out there every 5th day, and that's going to be good enough to win a freaking baseball game?
Nate,
we're going to go to the bullpen, and right now, what are you going to in the bullpen? Adam Clark?
We've proven every single point. Like the Angels cannot sign Shohei. Like this, it leads into a good example here. But like, okay, to close this out real quick before we get on to Shohei Ohtani talk, because I know we got to talk Shohei. To round this full circle, right? You go to every position on the Angels right now, and you put a question mark next to it, right? Mm-hmm. Every single position, you're back to where the Angels were. What was that, 2 years ago when we said it? Like
last year.
No, I think last year you were feeling a little bit more confident with some things. Like
there was a ground ball hit to short going into last year. We didn't know who was fielding.
You had question marks at some positions. You did. I say that. But the year before that, you had some question marks. The year before that, in what was that, 2022? 2022, when we said every position's a question mark. That's what you're back to again. You're not back to last year in 2023 when it was like, okay, like you have some like you have Brandon Drury again, but you don't know where. Like
Brandon Drury wasn't a question mark going into last year. He had one good year and one good year in his career. He was a question mark. If the ball was hit to shortstop, we didn't know who was fielding it. It could have been Gio Urshela. Question mark.
You have
Anthony
a question
Rendon
mark.
hadn't been healthy.
You have a question mark. You have a question mark at every single position right now. You had some depth last year. It's fair to say. You had Gio Urshela that could play around the dime. You had Drury.
It was terrible depth.
Like last season looked.
It was terrible.
Last season looks a lot better than this season right now, where the Angels were coming into.
You're also comparing the Angels of February 15th to the Angels of December 3rd.
No, the Angels got Renfroe. The Angels got Tyler Anderson. The Angels got Urshela, and they got one other guy before the winter meetings. I just posted on Twitter, man. Go on, lock in here.
I know what you're saying.
I'm not saying February. I'm saying right now where the Angels are right now compared to where the Angels were last year at this point. It is a lot worse. You have a lot. Every 26 guys is a question mark. Even Mike Trout. Mike Trout missed the remainder of last season.
Mike Trout was always a question mark.
Mike Trout. Then everybody's a question mark. Then, like if we were a little more confident last year.
You might have been.
I was definitely a little more confident than I am.
You thought they were a playoff team. I thought you were drunk.
No.
We can go back to the tape.
We can go back to the tape, but we know off the record how I felt about that. Let's get on to Shohei Ohtani talk. Let's get on because this is a fantastic point because the Angels are a question mark going into every single position. We talked about this before. It sounds like Shohei Ohtani is going to get probably $50 million a year, maybe closer to $60 million a year, 8 to 12 years. Let's give it that because I think that someone's going to offer 8 for the 60 mark. Or maybe more. I think someone's going to offer 12 for closer to the 50 mark. It depends on whatever Shohei wants. It sounds like per John Morosi and sounds like per everybody that Shohei Ohtani is going to sign within the next week, probably at the winter meetings. It seems like, which makes Taylor Blake look really, really good. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
We don't really trust anyone right now.
No, you don't. We don't know anything about Shohei Ohtani. Like, I think that's fair to say. I don't think any. I think his agent Nez is doing a fantastic job of keeping things extremely quiet. And I think the teams are doing a great job of keeping things quiet because that's how Shohei Ohtani wants it. He's not a. I don't think he's a guy that wants to be out in the media. I know the media is going to be all over it here this week and the coming weeks if he doesn't sign, but he's not somebody that wants to be out in the media. So let's give our thoughts here on if the Angels. I don't know. We've talked about that 18,000 times. I
No,
don't know,
move
man.
on.
I'm not in on it. I can't do it. I swear, if the Angels sign Shohei Ohtani, man, like you can't build a winner around somebody making $50 million a year. The Angels are not in that spot. The Dodgers are not in that spot right now. They really aren't. Like the Dodgers are not a Shohei Ohtani away from being like a World Series contender. I know they won they won the West last year, but I mean, their farm system isn't as good as it's been in the past. There are only a couple teams that it really makes a lot of sense for, and it seems like those teams are not in on Shohei Ohtani, and that's the weird thing about it. Like I'd say, I guess the Rangers make sense if you can clear some cap space there, but they don't need him. Like, you're just coming off a World Series win, and you're very young there. I mean, adding Shohei Ohtani is fantastic. The Mariners don't think they have enough money. That they don't think they have enough money to go do it. The Mariners make the most sense out of anybody. And then the Giants seem to be switching, coming off of this, and are one of the smarter teams and saying, hey, like, this is too much for us. We're going to go allocate the money different elsewhere. And it seems like they're on the Yamamoto train, which I wish the Angels were on the Yamamoto train. So, yeah. And I don't think that Shohei wants to be in New York. I really do not. Like, it's not a Shohei thing to want to be in New York. I'm just saying, like, if he wanted to be in New York, why didn't he sign there coming out of Japan?
Because he had the relationship with Billy. That was it.
If Billy was anywhere else, I'd say yes. Like, if Billy was in Toronto, I'd be like,
Billy
why isn't
is
Shohei
nowhere.
signed in Toronto? And Toronto makes a lot of sense for Shohei too.
Billy is nowhere.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. I'll give you that. I totally forgot that he left there. So yeah, I'm sorry. Like, it's adding up to make a lot of sense that the Angels are gonna re-sign Shohei Ohtani, and that scares me for the next 10 to 12 years. And man, dude,
I'm just saying I don't believe any reports. I'm sick and tired of all
I
these
agree.
reports.
I agree with that
They're
too.
all everything is a lie.
Yeah.
I mean, Bob Nightingale, you're a joke. I'm going back to Bob Nightingale as a joke.
Whoa.
Clint Hurdle was the bench coach. Torrey Hunter was the first base coach. This staff was, he had the staff all mapped out, and he was wrong on half the guys. So that was clutch. Their job is not to speculate. Like, we can speculate because that's we're not reporting on things. That's not what we do. We can speculate. Their job is to report the news that they hear, and they don't do that. A lot of it is, well, the Dodgers make a lot of sense. The Dodgers might not be in on this. They probably are, right? What if there's a guy in the org saying, "Hey, we're not in on this"? That might not even be the guy who's making the final decision. Like, you could have the Mariners, and it's like, oh, it's the assistant GM saying, we're not really in on Shohei. Little does he know that Jerry's having a meeting with the owner trying to figure out if they can make it work. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just so sick of the reporting the last couple of years. It's so much speculation. It's so much wrong. They have gotten so much stuff wrong that it's unbelievable. Unless Ken Rosenthal says it, I don't believe it. Like, Rosenthal doesn't really miss. I think he's missed one time in the last 10 years or something like that.
I'd say Passan too.
I don't trust ESPN people. If you're an ESPN person, I don't trust you. So
I'd say Passan as well, but
I think Passan just missed on something.
I think he said something.
There you go.
No, he said something.
There you go.
He said like piece of shit in a tweet, and he didn't mean for it to be that way. I saw it. It was a couple weeks ago, but
I think he also
at least it's not
missed
arson. At least it's not arson judge to the Giants. So I'll give you that. Take it for what it's worth. I don't. The Angels are not in a spot to sign Shohei Ohtani. If you look at it, and if you look at the reports coming out right now, which I know you just went on a huge rant about, it lines up for the Angels to be very much so in on Shohei Ohtani.
I don't think so.
I
I really don't, because
and then here's what's going to happen.
Artie's tenure has always been quiet, and nobody knows about anything. Right now, it is very much a lot of the Angels are in on this. The Angels are in on this. We didn't even know the Angels were in on Albert Pujols until the day he signed.
It's probably good. It's probably a good thing then if you hear the Angels are in on this. That means that hopefully the bidding's going up.
Up. That literally. I honestly think that this could be something where Artie is at a point where he knows that the Dodgers are getting Shohei Ohtani, and he hates the Dodgers so much that he's going to play the game of, you know what, we'll give you 575. The Dodgers want him so badly that they go to 600, and Artie goes, haha, take him. Right? Like it literally could be one of those games that Artie's just playing of like, yeah, we're in. Oh, 650? Yeah. You know what? Let the Dodgers sign him to 650. And if that's what he's doing, hats off. But if they sign this guy to 600 million, this team is 70. They won what, 75 games, 74, 73, whatever. They're not replacing anything. It's exactly what we talked about last year with the Mets. Did the Mets get better? No. All they did was spend more money on the same guys that they had. And what do you know? They got worse. Part of it was Edwin Diaz went down, and they had trouble saving games, things like that. But you understand the point, right? Like, you're not solving problems with re-signing Shohei Ohtani to $30 million more than he was paid last year and not bringing anyone else in. So I don't know. This offseason is just frustrating. Shohei Ohtani, once he signs, this will allow everything to sort out. Then you have the Juan Soto trade. You have Cody Bellinger who's going to sign. You have Yamamoto who's going to sign. All these guys are going to start coming off the board, but everyone is tied up in the 600 million, 500 million. Well, we can't sign this guy. We can't sign Jordan Montgomery. We got to find out if Shohei Ohtani is going to sign for 600. If he signs for 600, I can't afford Jordan Montgomery at 20 million. It's the teams that know that they're not getting Shohei Ohtani that are making moves, and that's why the early and often thing that Perry always is not working. It's not his early and often. Everyone's waiting for Perry to cook. It's not going to happen until Ohtani's done. Once Ohtani moves on, then you'll start to see some moves from the Angels. But the Angels aren't going to make a move until Ohtani decides where he's playing baseball next year.
And we shall see where that is. I still think the Mariners are a good choice. So with all that being said, guys, thank you so much for listening and watching here at Talkin' Halos. Again, you can follow us on all our social medias, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You can follow myself on X at Jared_Tim's, Nate at NateCrane34. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Have a great rest of your day.